From bounding into comics, IGN co-founder Peer Schneider whines about IGN's Captain Marvel review being downvoted. Apparently, he's upset. There's the headline. They say that, he took to Twitter to talk about review bombing, and we'll read that, but I just want to point out one really important thing. Just because people don't like something doesn't mean there's a coordinated campaign to hurt you. You are not a protected class. You're a review company for a movie. Marvel movies aren't protected. And guess what? The reason it's getting downvoted is not because there is a centralized leader demanding action. It's because random people just happen to not like what you say and they don't like your movie. He goes on a claim, apparently, that the only reason the movie's being downvoted on YouTube is because people, it's political or whatever, completely ignoring the comment section where people explain why their review is bad. When I watched their review, I cringed at some of the things they said. We can see here that actually I have, do I have it pulled up? So here we go. This is actually the review as of right now. It's got 6,400 down, 5.5 thousand up. And there are a few things he said in it that made me cringe. Like, they really did bring up some feminist tropes, saying that, Captain Marvel, people believe that she shouldn't be there, she doesn't deserve her power, or that, so it's basically like imposter syndrome, and I'm like, these are very feministy tropes, and it made me go like, ooh, like, man. But then they said they were doing a fresh new take, and I'm like, a fresh new take on amnesia? And someone commented that. It's like, no, dude, you just gave like a weak review, and you were praising things that were bad, so you deserve a thumbs down. It's not complicated, but let's read. IGN co-founder Peer Schneider took to Twitter to whine about why IGN's Captain Marvel review is being downvoted. Schneider's take on the downvoting is disingenuous from the get-go, as he cites the demonstrably false new narrative about review bombing when it comes to Captain Marvel. As we pointed out before, you can't review bomb a movie on Rotten Tomatoes before it's in theaters. Even Rotten Tomatoes would issue a statement after they redesigned their website explaining that. Nevertheless, Schneider writes, there's been a lot of talk about concerted rating review bombing for Captain Marvel. Seems like it's still a thing. Our newly published positive review of the unreleased movie has 3K downvotes to 2.5K upvotes on YouTube so far, which is very different from most reviews we post. Oh my God. It's not that people didn't like your review. It's that there's a conspiracy. That explains it. Maybe you made a bad review. Maybe people don't like Captain Marvel, and so they're approaching the review already with a negative eye, and they didn't like what you said. No, I really don't think there's a group of people sitting around plotting to review bomb well, first of all, you can't review bomb by downvoting. You're just saying you don't like their review. Heavens. These people who keep pushing this narrative are so shocked to find out that maybe they made bad content that it must be a conspiracy. Think about the narcissism and the arrogance of this. Listen, let me just give you some advice. You made a review, you said some things that people didn't agree with, so they clicked the little thumbs down button. It happens to me all the time. I made a video not that long ago that got something like, 55% thumbs up, mostly thumbs down. Did I make a follow-up video saying, why are people mad at me? No, I was like, well, I guess people didn't like what I had to say. It's absolutely ridiculous how these people just assume there's a grand conspiracy of 4chan right-wing trolls that have this insurmountable power behind them. It's just, let's read. He goes on. Schneider would then respond to a user who has their Twitter account protected but appears to have challenged Schneider's view by posting another review that had a number of downvotes. Ooh, he said, since you chose to engage with me, let me explain quickly why what you're saying is actually not connected to what I posted about. First of all, I'm flattered that you had to cite a 5-year-old review to show us that you don't agree with our reviews. We have reviewed thousands. Let's pause right here and think about something. What's he implying? Does he think that all the content they make is always going to be loved by everybody? I have a saying. It's not my saying. It's you can't win them all. Sometimes you make something people don't like, you move on. But they want to push this narrative of a conspiracy instead of just accepting maybe the review was bad. It's that simple. And the fact is, yes, once in every 5 years, you might do a bad review. Is that so hard to believe? He goes on to say, we have reviewed thousands of games and movies since IGN reviews are very popular, hopefully, and often highly upvoted on YouTube. Hopefully, we're steering you better with other opinion pieces. Now, if you really liked Alien Isolation, we welcome that dissenting feedback, maybe without the IGN bullshit hashtag. Negative users being angry about a review and holding them against us for years. That is our charter and our promise as autonomous reviewers. Sometimes you don't agree. Let us know what happens. We don't delete dissenting comments, and feel free to downvote our videos. What does this mean? To me, it sounds like what he's saying is they try to make sure that their videos are in line with common public opinion. If all of your videos are always good, what does that mean? It means people always agree with you. I would have to imagine you have some pretty tepid opinions on a lot of this content. I periodically have videos that are thumbs down, for sure. I did one recently that was like 80%, because not everybody agrees with it. Not everybody agrees with my take. It happens. In fact, I'd say a lot of people will give me a thumbs up even if they disagree because they like the discourse. But sometimes you say things that people are like, dude, you are shilling for this. You know it's bad. There's a ton of negative and mixed reviews for this movie. Its Metacritic score is like 65, all right? So it's not the best movie, and even the positive reviews are kind of like, it's a little, eh. Let's read on. Schneider then tells people who are downvoting his review video why they are downvoting. He writes, the audience isn't downvoting because the review steered them wrong. They haven't seen the movie. They aren't downvoting because they don't trust us. Otherwise, every review would look like that. It's because a group of people has self-organized to hit any video about Captain Marvel to downvote it, following her comments about homogenous movie critics. All right, now he adds. The video is downvoted merely to oppose, sight unseen, and that's ignorant. Beautiful. However, they say, if you look at some of IGN's other recent reviews, Pierre is right. The ratio on this Captain Marvel review is significantly different. However, Pierre's assumption of why people are downvoting the review is questioned when you actually read some of the comments. While a number of people insinuate IGN is taking money for approaching this review, approaching the review, one of the top comments reads, when you call the amnesia trope a fresh approach, which was specifically pointed towards reviewer Jackie Ling's comments. In fact, the amnesia story is not a fresh approach. Alita Battle Angel just used it last month. Jason Bourne used it brilliantly. It's not fresh. It has been done before. It is such a common and played out trope. I was not a big fan of Alita Battle Angel. I was kind of meh on it. Like CGI, the fight scenes were cool. Not a big fan, didn't like it. And I know most people are saying it's like a shot-for-shot remake of the original anime movie. Not a big fan. But you know what? That's okay. I made a video where I criticized it, and it got like 80% thumbs up. A lot of people were mad I didn't like it. I said, you know what? Some people disagreed with me and thought I was wrong and thumbs down the video. Welcome to the real world. Sometimes people disagree with you. Calling the amnesia trope a fresh approach, you're going to get a thumbs down. Pointing out the weird political feministy tropes, you're going to get a thumbs down. People are going to be like, I don't like that. Why do you like that? I disagree with you. Disagree, press the button. Others point to the fact they've watched other reviews which have a very different take on the film and rebut Pierre's comments about people not trusting IGN. One user wrote, Jeremy Johns gave a non-biased and honestly a much better review. Go home, IGN. You're drunk as always, another stated. I don't trust the people who said Doom 2016 was average. Still another added, Brie Larson's performance and chemistry is the obvious highlight. Most people are saying the complete opposite. Listen, I don't think it's fair to downvote them because other people have different opinions. But a lot of people are going to be mistrusting of you. These are people who, sure, self-organized, but you do have even positive reviews. They're on Metacritic where they say the amnesia trope was bad for Brie Larson because it didn't give her an opportunity to explore what her character actually was because she didn't have one. She didn't have a backstory for most of the movie. She didn't know who she was. So I've heard that and I said, oh, that's really interesting. And I've seen even far left outlets say the same thing. Then IGN comes out and says it's a fresh take. And I'm like, well, hold your horses there. Now, admittedly, I'm not going to give it a thumbs down. I appreciate they reviewed the movie. I listened and watched it, and I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. Though some of the things they said are kind of cringy. But let's read on. Others pointed to IGN's review of past films. So what you're saying is that it's better than Civil War? Yeah, sure, IGN. Another, you gave Aquaman 7.5 and this 8.3. You know, sometimes I'm really starting to believe the anti-DC thing. And there's another thing too, right? People who know that they've given bad, reviews to DC or positive to Marvel. Listening to the review, I found it hypocritical, Gene states. The MCU's newest hero, Captain Marvel, has entered the fray literally swinging with a cosmic-flavored origin story that feels like a much-needed fresh approach to the classic Captain Marvel Phase 1 formula. Later on in the video, she says, thankfully, for as high concept and cosmic as Captain Marvel's story engines are, the plot itself doesn't try to reinvent the wheel. Instead, it relies pretty heavily on the greatest hits of Phase 1 movies like Iron Man and Thor. The Phase 1 nostalgia does seem a bit jarring, though. It's strange to feel the MCU suddenly pivot back to the pure origin routine after the last 2 years has been so experimental. I'm confused. Is it a fresh approach to the Marvel Phase 1 formula, or is it a pivot back to the pure origin story? This is what I can't stand about these people. There are very clear and obvious reasons why people aren't going to like your review for it. I don't see people going to the LA Times and being like, how dare you positively remove this movie. In fact, most of the critics on YouTube are saying, yeah, I'm not surprised it got a 66 or a 65 aggregate review. That's not bad. Rotten Tomatoes has it higher because their formula, I gotta say Rotten Tomatoes formula is stupid. It's like some people it's positive, some it's negative, you can't tell why. Metacritic just breaks it down based on percentage, and that's fine. But this is I think this is probably the best point right here. They say that it's a fresh take in numerous times. It doesn't rehash, it doesn't reinvent the wheel, but then it plays back to the old tropes. It sounds like she wrote this, and as she was like thinking about it, she changed her opinion and didn't go back and fix it. What's going to happen? Well, you confused me. You included some feministy tropes that I thought were like kind of cringy, but not that bad. I'm not going to give you a thumbs down. You said if Amnesia was fresh, and then you contradicted yourself. And this is what they're going to do. Guess what? Sometimes people don't like what you make. You can't win them all. Stop acting like it's a conspiracy against you. I'm going to leave it there. Stick around. One more video coming up in a few minutes. I will see you then.